so much, Varun, for joining this webinar as a speaker. So we'll just immediately kickstart the questions. So can you give a quick brief about Spicemoney, Varun, to start with?
Right. So good evening, Mani, and good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It is a pleasure to address the audience and highlighting what rural fintechs are doing towards the rural India. So Spicemoney is a leading rural fintech. We serve tier 3 and tier 4 cities, and we are into B2B2C space. That means we are into assisted financial services that are there. We have our merchants through whom we serve our customers, and we cut across various verticals where we provide solutions in terms of banking and payment space, where we have Aadhaar-enabled payment system, money remittance is there, MATM, MPOS solutions are there, BBPS recharges are there, and we have our merchants virtual wallet, which can be uploaded through various modes of QR, payment gateways, and UPI as well. Then we are also operating into like a cash collection also. So where our Spicemoney counters also act as a cash collection center. And we have already integrated with more than 50 plus partners in order to facilitate the services for rural India. That makes their lives much easier. Apart from that, we have also ventured into lending and credit, agri-tech. Also, we are providing travel services also under the brand name Travel Union, where we believe that we are one of the pioneers in terms of B2B travel services also, like hotel, train, flight, bus, even tourism, and a lot of other travel products that are planned, bank account opening, and then into investment products and merchant toolkits. So the landscape is quite big, and we feel proud to be associated with rural India and Spicemoney, because here we believe that we are also contributing towards India's mission of increasing the financial inclusion, which is there. So
okay, interesting brief, Varun.
And we wish to be the most admired rural fintech brand, which is there. And what I always, and we believe that admiration can only come through trust. And trust can only come through continuous positive experience. So you cannot force somebody to trust you. You have to display and earn that trust. So this is all about Spicemoney in brief.
Perfect. I think there are so many services into Spicemoney. It really warmed after hearing this, Varun. So in this rural India, right, what exact problem that Spicemoney is solving? If you can brief top 5 problems, maybe that would help us.
Right. So in India, like if I talk about rural India, around 14.6% of Indian population is still unbanked, right? And the financial inclusion index is still low as when it comes to India. And the major reasons are lack of digital and financial literacy, right? But the trends are improving nowadays. Like if you go and read the latest reports that are available, you will find that the penetration of internet in rural India has moved to close to 67.6% in 2021, which was close to 36.5% in 2018. And in terms of the smartphone usage and the internet usage that we have got, so India is the second highest in both in terms of smartphone penetration as well as the internet penetration. So and government of India has also pushed in a lot of schemes and initiatives which is actually helping in order to bring the financial literacy, financial inclusion more. And what we see, if you go by statistics, you will find that in India, there are close to 6 lakh villages, right? And 20% of them are served through ATMs, right? And there are only 1.25 lakh bank branches or ATMs which are there. You may call it, roughly it comes out to be 6:1 ratio, like every 6 villages will have one ATM or a bank branch. However, this figure is actually higher because in urban areas, you will find a ATM in less than a kilometer space. So if you actually explorate this figure, you will find that close to 10 villages will have access to one bank branch or ATM. which is a huge figure that is there. And the population that is working with the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana coming in, lot of bank accounts that got opened, and with Aadhaar, where government of India, or maybe we can call the organization, they brought in a JAM stack, which is Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar, and the mobile. So combined together, that revolutionized, or that kicked in another revolution which was there. And here, if you see, with lot of accounts, bank accounts getting opened, and your subsidies and lot of other wages also started coming into bank accounts. That means for having access to your own money, you have to have access to the banks, because that is how your financial inclusion index will improve, where people will have access to bank accounts, or maybe insurance and other financial products that they will get. So now if we say 10 villages, 1 bank branch or a ATM, that means probably people will have to hop 3-4 villages or cities, change 3-4 modes of transport. Infrastructure wise, if you see also, like if you say that government should pump in more money, put up some more ATMs. So practically, if you see, putting up even an ATM would require a lot of infrastructure enablement. Like you would need well-connected roads, because your mobile cash vans have to travel. You will need uninterrupted power supply, right? And you will need full-time security guards, security equipment. You have to figure out the place where it is not so isolated, the more people penetration is there. So there are a lot of hassles which may itself take a lot of time. And then even if like government solves all of this problem, there will be a severe shortage of people who are willing to work in those areas.
Okay.
Right? Because here in India, still 65% of population resides in rural India. But everybody like wants to move out of villages, seeing that there are better opportunities in cities. So our objective is to create opportunities where people can stay in their own villages, and they can have all the facilities which they are not able to find otherwise. So first is that the people who do not have bank account access so easily. So here we are helping, because we cover out of 19,000 pin codes, we cover more than 16,000 pin codes. Out of 750 districts, we cover more than 700 districts in terms of penetration or availability. That means you will not have that huge gap in terms of the access required and the point of access which is there. So first is this problem that we are solving. The other area which we believe is that we are creating job opportunities, or we are creating nanopreneurs which are there. And here, like, what are the key ingredients which you would require in order to be a merchant? Like you will need a smartphone, you will need internet connection, and you will need a biometric device. Like smartphone and internet connection, most of like population has now. Like the figures also say smartphone penetration is close to 67% plus, and internet is also spreading very fast, and with broadband services also coming towards rural India, and with the lot of mobile operators also participating in that. So internet penetration has also gone better. So we can say smartphone and internet is pretty obvious, available with everybody, and biometric device only costs like around 2,000 or something around this only. So which is a very small investment in terms of somebody who wants to be a merchant. And in terms of qualification, there are certain certifications which RBI has suggested, IIBF certification and few other certifications which are there that you would require. And in terms of here, this space, like a computer industry, is open to everybody can come and join in. Similar way, it is like same case for our merchants, whom we call as adhikaris. So here they can be only doing financial services. They can be owning up like grocery shops. They may be internet cafe owners, or they may be doctors, merchants, jewelers, or they may be a pan shop owner. So there is no such restriction. And here in terms of space also, like here you can operate through a mobile phone. Even laptops or desktops are not important. If you talk about, I would like to share, like here when it becomes very difficult, like we had floods and we have a COVID time period. So there were a lot of subsidies which government pushed. So at that point in time, even banks were not operating. right? So we become fintechs being a part of emergency services, like our counters were open, people like queued up withdrawing the subsidy cash which was there, and traffics immediately during that times they gone up to 10x. So that is a kind of a traffic that was there. So largely these are the two problems which we are solving. One is the financial inclusion or the bank access, providing services to the unbanked. And other thing is also, with one thing is that your lot of dormant accounts are there in rural population, especially females, right, that are there. So with this Spicemoney counters or fintechs like us, so that also dormant count is decreasing, because people can make transactions out of it, because they don't have to wait to visit say far off places to the banks. And the other thing is that we are also promoting female participation in fintechs also. So here it is like you need not to be a male merchant in order to start your business, like being a Spicemoney adhikari. Even females are there, we call them nari adhikaris. So, and there are a lot of government schemes also, where government is like, in Odisha we have Nari Shakti, and a lot of other states have also promoted, where like they are providing or creating a livelihood for these people. So these are largely which are there in terms of financial services, while other services are anyways available, like in future lending and etc. will also be going towards customers. So there they will also have better opportunities to get the loans nearby, rather than paying huge revenues that are there.
So if I classify, by the way, thanks so much for give a detailed view of what problem that Spicemoney is solving. So if I put it into two buckets, one is on the financial inclusion, that the rural guys can go easily take, withdraw, deposit money, and the second is making them an entrepreneurs and then make them a livelihood for them also, right? So it's these two interesting use cases that Spicemoney is solving. Yeah, and according to you, right, according to Spicemoney, how big is this market in India market, right? So if you can give a brief on that, that would be great.
Right. So according to BLINC reports, if you see by 2021, overall financial services market is close to $500 billion in India, and out of that, fintechs is close to $31 billion, which is assumed to be going up to $150 billion by 2025. So, and if you see, and there is a 22% compounded growth which is happening. And if you see like how this fintech or financial services is divided, is that close to 28% is investment technology, 27% is close to payments, and then around 16% is lending, and then you have 9% as banking infra services is there, and remaining is the other services which is there. And with this schemes, and if you see this farmer subsidies itself, which is PM Kisan Samman Yojana, under which like farmers get subsidies also. So there is a huge number which is getting catered towards this. And here, if you see, like I mentioned already, that only 20% ATM penetration is there in rural India, which is getting served. And with this, and around, there is a close to, I would say, high penetration rate internet, and with income also excess, which is also increasing for the population, and favorable government initiatives that are coming. So the potential is huge. And the other thing is that it is not only, and if you see, there are a lot of like close to 6,000 plus fintechs which exist as of now. And but here with all this internet and other penetration which is there, so even IAMAI, it says that the internet penetration is growing at 3x in rural India as compared to urban India. So here, if you see, there is a huge opportunity which is there, and 65% of population in rural India is below 35 years. So like,
okay.
right. So here, if you see the financial inclusion and like the insurance and other products which are there, so these are coming up. The only reason it was earlier growing slowly because there was lack of awareness, both digital as well as financial. And with now pandemic means like we should thank pandemic for this. At least it has created a lot of awareness among the people. In rural India also, now they are more literate in terms of financial services which are available, and they are more open towards taking up these services as well. Like if I talk about, like we have our merchants who are either differently abled or they are physically challenged or so they are also like, it is not a matter of earning livelihood. Sometimes it is a matter of self-reliance also, and being proud of yourself. That even if you are not looking like other people, however, that is not stopping you from earning or being independent. So in overall terms, if you see, there are even the direct benefit transfers, the DBTs, there is 435 million beneficiaries who are there, who are direct beneficiaries of the schemes. And here you can see like how much is the need which is there. Right. And with the newer technologies maybe coming up in future, like we will see a better utilization and optimization of funds. And we also see that blockchain is going to bring in a better clarity in terms of like who should get a subsidy, who should not. Right. So currently everyone is, but fintechs are working in that space. And also, if you see a lot of data initiatives in terms of AI, analytics, ML. So in terms of, you can create a lot of use cases out of which are unheard of. Like we are also working on a lot of use cases, which I would like to hold for a time being, because unless we work on them. But there is a huge opportunity.
Potential. Okay. By the way, I'm hearing a lot of interesting numbers. Varun, thank you so much. Maybe our participants also really liking all of your comments. I'll moving on to the next point, right? So you were saying in your website, when I browse it, I can see Adhigaris, right? Spicemoney Adhigaris. So it says that it gives life for them. It is making them entrepreneurs, right? Can you give a brief about that, Varun? What is that and all?
Yeah. So during the pandemic time, we thought like how do we distinguish or call our merchants, because everybody is a merchant who is there. How do we differentiate? And we thought what is the name that we should give? So we thought of, after much deliberation, marketing, and with a lot of deliberation from their side, doing a lot of research and talking to different merchants, they finalized and they said that, okay, we want to call our merchants as Spicemoney Adhikaris. And if you go by literal meaning, it says official, who is in, is the person who is in command, like his command, and he can control the various aspects. So, and we see that Adhikaris are a kind of a symbol of change. We call them Badlav ka Pratik. Right, this is there. So that is how we started calling them. We call our distributors as Spicemoney partners, and we call our Adhikaris as Spicemoney Adhikaris. So this is how we identify or we address them. So they also see themselves as a part of Spicemoney family.
Okay. Even I'm also interested to become an Adhikari. So how to become an Adhikari in Spicemoney, Varun? Can you give a brief?
Right. So there for, like I mentioned earlier, like only you need a smartphone, internet connection, and a biometric device that you would have to purchase. So you can get in touch with our sales representatives who are available, or you can contact us through our website, and some sales representative can go there. You can also download our mobile application, which is available on Google Play Store. You can download and you can onboard yourself. And once you fill on all the details and you are verified, it is a completely digital process, which is there. Your KYC details and other documents will be asked there and then. and somebody will verify and then will contact you. A sales representative will be assigned to you, who will be in touch with you. So becoming a adhikari is not very difficult. So simply you can go and download the application and find out.
Okay, got it. And so when we in the initial discussion, right, you were saying about one problem that you are solving on creating, giving financial inclusion to the rural and making them an entrepreneurs like adhikaris, and then giving livelihood, right? And what are all the other services which Spicemoney do other than these two things?
So like I mentioned, we have Aadhaar enabled payment system, which we have, like you can withdraw cash, deposit cash, check your balance, check your mini statement. Then you can do cash to account, means like suppose you are your customer, a laborer is there who's working at a construction site. He wants to send money home, right? He can simply walk down to Spicemoney counter, and he can tell that this is the beneficiary account, and the transfer can happen in less than a minute. So that is there. And then there are MPOS devices, the point of sale devices, the pin pad devices, which you see in a lot of shops where you go and swipe your debit cards in order to do that. So that is there. Bill payments, you can make all the bill payments there. You can recharge, you can avail travel services, you can avail, like I said, cash collection services are there for both agents of that particular partner, like and the customers also. And like I said, we are also working on loans, which is as of now available with merchants as of now. And then people can also walk down to Spicemoney counter to open bank accounts for specific banks.
But the transaction, what you are saying, right? People can do it to UPI itself, no? Why specifically they want to come to adhikaris and do a transaction, Varun? Is there any reason behind it?
Yeah. So in UPI, first is that you cannot withdraw cash, like it is there, and people want cash. So in India, so what we believe that becoming a complete cashless economy is very, very far off as of now. We may, like we are slowly moving towards less cash economy. However, in rural India, we still have a lot of, like in last year, there is more than 3 trillion transactions on UPI that happened. So UPI is moving fast. However, there are a lot of use cases where people still want to have cash, or they want to like check their statements, or they want to check their needs here and there, do bill payments, and a lot of other services where UPI, through UPI, it may not be possible.
Okay, got it. And with respect to your designation, right, a CIO of Spicemoney, so there are a lot of fintech founders who's been part of this audience, right?
Right.
So everybody will be expecting CTO as a role that they will literally searching for. So I'd like to know more about the CIO role.
Right. So here, if you see, in fintechs, the role of CIO, CTO, and Chief Digital Officer, whom we call as CTO. So it is a combined role which is there. So we always believe that technology, it is not only about infrastructure or about IT. It is always about the ecosystem which is there. So there is a lot of changes, technology changes that are happening in fintech. And if we say the word itself says, which I usually tell, that the word fintech may have tech as at the fag end of the word fintech. However, whatever financial inclusion initiatives or whatever pace we want to achieve, tech has to take a leapfrog. Tech has to lead. And that is the reason here designation may be CIO, CTO, or CDO. Here my role also is kind of overall seeing in terms of whatever solutions which we are building, so that match the market demands that we have, and we are fast enough in order to provide the innovative solutions also. We wish to be a marketplace for rural India, and like I talked about, a lot of services which we are taking care. We are working on a lot of digital transformations. We are working in terms of bringing in a lot of data-led initiatives which are there. And in terms of scale, and in terms of flexibility, in terms of agility. So that is all that gets covered. And also we have invested a lot in terms of automation, where we believe that customer is definitely the king, which is there, and people should have that level of trust that whatever transaction has happened, or if there is a failure, that failure is resolved as early as possible. Through manual processes it will not be possible, but it is like a completely technology landscape that we have to build in. We have done a lot of I would say initiatives. We took a lot of initiatives in the last year. This year also we have planned a lot of initiatives where we see and adoption of further future looking technologies which are there.
Great. And with respect to NBFCs, right? NBFCs are fintech companies. Everybody believes that rural is the next big thing. And how do Spicemoney select a village and then get inside that? How do you penetrate inside a village? How do you basically onboard a customer, right? Varun, can you explain that? Yeah.
Right. So here, if you see, like I mentioned, that we are covering out of 19,000 pin codes, we are covering more than 16,000 pin codes. And here we believe that in order to make sound decisions, we have to rely on the data that is available. So we do a lot of extensive research in terms of where we wish to penetrate, where there is a need which is there. So a lot of complex data operations happen and then that happens in discussion with is there, and we are going deeper in terms of penetration. So I would say that in terms of selection, it is more towards data led. It is a data led initiative. It is not that we just simply go and say, okay, here I want to create a adhikari which is there. And in terms of onboarding a customer, so we only onboard merchants, and then customers simply go and do the transaction, whatever transactions they want to do. There is not huge onboarding that happens. For few services, eKYC is required, or KYC is required in order to avail services. Like money remittance is there if you want to take that up. So that is where you have to do a eKYC or a physical KYC, depending on whatever means are available at that point in time.
Okay. And with respect to, so till now we have we spoke about the adhikaris, how to become a merchant and all, right? So with respect to the end user, right? The end user, where we would like to know what exactly the full flow, right? So he comes to adhikari, what he do, how the transaction has been done, how technology can solve this issue. So can you give a brief on the full flow?
Right. So as we call AEPS, it is Aadhaar enabled payment system. So a customer comes, so he only needs is either his Aadhaar number or the virtual ID, which is a 16-digit fungible entity which can be generated. However, people find it complex. They usually come up with their Aadhaar number. And their other thing is that, like if they want to do a cash withdrawal transaction, so simply they have to go to the merchant, tell his Aadhaar number, and then he can share his mobile number. We suggest and recommend that he shares his mobile number. That is where like merchant can reach out to him and even notify him in case of like further subsidies are coming. So then he need to tell the amount which he wants to withdraw. Suppose he wants to withdraw 1,000 rupees. Now what will happen? So there is a biometric device which is there. So there are two modes of authenticating that particular user, because we have to actually find out whether the customer who is doing the transaction is the actual owner of that account or not, right?
Yes.
So and here your Aadhaar number, while you have seeded your bank accounts there in that. So that information is already available. Like what is your account number? You don't go and tell your account number. You simply tell your Aadhaar number, the amount, and then you give a thumb, your fingerprint. One way is your fingerprint. It can be thumb, finger, or any other impression that is there. Or you can transact through iris also. Iris scanner is there. So these and then once this is there, then adhikaris usually first check the balance Because if you want to withdraw, say 1,000 rupees, your bank account should have 1,000 rupees at least. Right. Or there are, say, 1,012 rupees. So people will tell, okay, you withdraw the entire money by to leave 12 rupees or something like that. Right. Yeah. So it is usually for a cash withdrawal. It is usually either a mini statement that they will do, or they will do or they will do a balance inquiry. And whatever they will tell the adhikari that is there, this part is optional, means it is not mandatory that they have to do a balance inquiry or the mini statement. They can directly also go and do a cash withdrawal. So the input for a cash withdrawal is your Aadhaar number, your amount, and your bank name. So because your multiple accounts can be seeded with your Aadhaar, so you have to tell which bank it is there. And then you give your thumb impression or iris scan, whatever is available. And then the request is submitted. The request goes to we are BC2 banks. So the request goes there, that it goes to NPCI, where request also goes to UIDI for authentication, like which Aadhaar number and fingerprints have a match. If there is a mismatch, then the transaction will fail immediately. And if it matches, then the transaction NPCI will forward that transaction to issuer bank, and issuer bank will make the transaction, and we will be notified through the APIs that this transaction is successful. That amount is credited to the virtual wallet of adhikari, and adhikari then hands over the physical cash to the customer. So this is how the entire cycle that completes. And in terms of, this is how the adhikari pays that cash. And like we have these services, we call these kind of services as cash out services, right? And where there are services like money remittance is there, DMT is there, where people will come with cash. So it is a kind of a rotation of cash that also happens, where cash in happens, and adhikari can utilize that same cash for serving the merchants.
Okay, interesting. So that is a full flow, right? So basically all they have to do is they have to come with cash, and then they just press the fingerprint, and then the bank.
They will if they want to withdraw the cash, they will only come with Aadhaar number and thumb.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if they want to deposit a cash, then they can hand over the cash to the merchant, and that transaction can happen. So then amount is also credited into bank account of the customer.
Interesting. And how quickly you are able to onboard a rural customer, Varun?
So here, if you see this transaction, it happens usually less than a minute.
Less than a minute, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. And being in a rural segment, right? How far the internet infrastructure and all is there? It's all good, or how's that?
Yeah. Largely, we see internet is available, and
so there's a smooth transaction is happening.
Right. That is happening, and in other areas, rural areas, like I mentioned, broadband penetration is also slowly improving.
Okay. And what are all the different payment services that can be promoted in this particular rural areas, Varun?
So like all these services which I mentioned, like on the money remittance and all that stuff, so that is possible and available.
Okay. Great. So I think I didn't see the time till now. Time is almost we have reached almost 45 minutes. All right. So now everybody is a bit afraid of getting into rural segment, right? It's because of the challenges, right? So what are all the main challenges that you face in this particular area, rural segment, right? Can you list down a few challenges?
Right. So in terms of, like, I see that earlier, if I talk about 2 years back, so largely the challenges which were largely there, which have now moved or subdued a little bit, also is that awareness. First is that awareness, and then trust is also there. Like people would earlier, like they would fear that, okay, the light is blinking on the biometric device. So people were slightly worried, and probably like whether somebody will give them a cash or not. The concept itself is like hard to believe, like how it will happen. So that was there, but with during pandemic time and with a lot of education webinars and seminars and videos that we create, a lot of information that we share with our merchants and adhikaris. So a lot of awareness which has come in the rural segment, and they approach the merchants or adhikaris. They also like many of them go out of their way to resolve for the issues. Like if a transaction has failed, they will guide the rural customer how to solve for it. So that is how it is. And here, if you see, there is actually no onboarding of the customer that is required. They can go to any counter and utilize these services.
I mean, one of the questions, even the Q&A also Abe has asked, right? So you said that you will be providing credit services to the merchants. So is there any way that you basically underwrite your merchants? If you can give a high level idea on that, Varun?
Yeah, so here underwriting is basis the kind of transactions they are doing, their profile information which is there, and a lot of other information which we are gathering, and always also on the CIBIL scores and a lot of information which is available. So it is a kind of underwriting rules that we have created on the basis of which that the loans are dispersed.
Interesting. And you were saying about AEPS, right? Other enabled pay system, payment system. Can you give a background about what exactly happening in the background? As soon as he gives thumb impression or retina raise scan, right? So can you explain a bit more on the AEPS?
Right. So here, like I mentioned, so first level of authentication happens like in terms of the fingerprint or iris that is scanned, right? And then UIDI says that this information is a match, right? If it is a match, then NPCI has a mapper like which says like which issuer bank to connect to or pass the request to. And then the issuer bank takes the respective action. If it has to withdraw the cash, that means the account needs to be debited, right? So then all the checks in terms of like whether the account is active or whether it has sufficient funds or whatever other velocity checks, core banking system checks the banks need to do. They do those checks, and then they return that status back to NPCI and then to the acquirer banks, and then who notify to us. So all this happens in the background. So merchant or the customer will only see that he has entered all these details, given his fingerprint, press the submit button, and it is done.
Okay, and how fast the transaction is going to be?
So usually, typically, it takes like close to 20 to 30 seconds. Not
that's it. Okay. Less than 30 seconds, he can do a transaction, is it?
Right.
Okay, interesting. And so what happens if there is any network problem in midst of it? Have you faced any challenges in that?
So usually, like I said, the merchants have taken up broadband services as of now. Right. And there, like queuing, etc., we are not doing, because here the people would want the transaction results immediately to see.
Okay.
So that is where they would want. And internet issues, largely we don't like get complaints in terms of, because the merchants who are getting into this area, they know that these are the few prerequisites that are there, but there are solutions coming up where organizations are working how to enable services or solutions like without the usage of internet. So that is work in progress, I would say. Other options are kiosks which are there, but that is also where physical kiosks will be available or
not. Okay. And so in your website, I can also see that a Spicemoney wallet, right? So what is the use of the wallet, how it works?
Okay, so Spicemoney wallet as of now is only available to Spicemoney merchants. So it is a virtual wallet which they can upload and through which they will do the services, like for if they have to like transfer a cash, if it is a DMT transaction. So merchant will come and pay the cash. Say he wants to transfer, say, 1,000 rupees. So he will give 1,000 rupees to the merchant, and merchant's virtual wallet will be debited by 1,000 rupees.
Okay.
Right. And then the transaction and the transfer will happen. And then it gets settled, and then commission is paid on the basis of transactions. What is the amount of transaction, what is that we wish to be. So it is like this.
Interesting. That is the reason why we need a wallet for this particular kind of.
Right.
Okay. Got it. So and so many of the fintechs, right? They want, or NBFC, they want to start a branch in the rural India. So what would be the cost for doing that? So what are all the manpower is required, Varun?
Sorry, please come again.
No. So I was asking, the audience here, NBFCs and fintech companies, right? They want to penetrate in rural market, right? So what would be the cost to start a branch in rural segment? What kind of manpowers are required? What is the cost basically approximately is required, Varun, to start a branch?
So start being a merchant.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like I mentioned, there are 3 basic prerequisites, which I say a smartphone, internet connection, and a biometric device.
So you don't need a branch at all, right?
Yeah. So see, the shop where you want to operate, it can be any place that where it is there. People should come to you. So there we are. These are the basic requirements. There is no onboarding fees or otherwise which is there. And like I said, that you can onboard yourself through a mobile application. Yourself. You don't have to run behind or find out, okay, somebody like cheated you. So that is the reason it is a self onboarding. Then somebody from the organization will contact, or the representative will contact. So that is how it is.
And we have 10 more minutes. Audience, can you please post your questions so that we can take it up further? And a couple of questions on my side, right? So always there is a competition if you start a business, right? So how Spicemoney is different from other competitors?
Okay, so one is the wide area or wide range of services that we are providing. Like I could see like one of the questions also, which says that you are doing banking BC only, what is our USP? So it is that one is that whosoever wants to, from the merchant side, if you see, so one thing is that it is a kind of a volume business for any of the merchants. One is that we are providing services, and also one thing that is very important to understand is that you may provide services or somebody else may also provide the services. But what in terms of platform stability that you are going to provide if your platform is not working for a day, right? So that livelihood of that particular person is lost. So one is that we are ensuring that the platform remains stable. We keep on adding new services. It is not only a kind of a AEPS or DMT services which are there. You can like do travel related transactions. You can book tickets, you can book flights. Otherwise, like what is the way? You will go somewhere, find out. Even tourism is there, and IRCTC tourism is there. So you can do or enable your people who are around you through that one single counter. So it becomes a one-stop shop for all the solutions and services which I am talking about. Like we are also having Amazon Easy also, which provides like integration with Amazon, which provides the last mile assistance also. So they can, if they do not have access to like internet directly, or they don't know, they can simply go to a merchant counter and order the product which they want through that. So it is not only the banking services or banking payment services that we are providing. We are covering a lot more services which are there. And it is beneficial for the merchant also. And there is no inventory that you have to uphold or stock. So it is only that you have to take care of that, and whatever customers you are able to serve, and every customer has got different needs. Everybody may not be only coming to you to do a bank transfer or to withdraw or deposit a cash. There are other requirements also which are there, and I believe we are the only one who are providing such a wide variety of services under one.
Okay, I think it's a one-stop solution for all the needs, right? Interesting. And so as far as your future goals, right? So how you are seeing the future for Spicemoney? How we can what kind of caliber it has? Varun, can you give a brief on that?
Right. So like Mani, I shared, like we are progressing towards agri-tech also. We are moving towards lending also, which are there, and a lot of other solutions which we are working in. And like here, I said that we want to be a marketplace for rural India. So whatever are the needs of rural India, which are there through financial inclusion and financial enablement. So that is where we are targeting to come up. And obviously, the adoption of newer technologies will definitely help us create better products for rural India. And a lot of regulations are there in this space. It is not a commoditized business that everybody can be fintech providing all these solutions, because there are a lot of compliances which we have to meet, right? And we take care, because like your Aadhaar, sensitivity of Aadhaar information, how you will take care, and what are the documentation that would be required for certain processes. So all of this needs to be taken care. We are in process of like automation and building a platform for future.
Okay. Nice. It's a huge vision, right, Varun? And I just take it up the questions on the audience side, right? Say I am an NBFC and I am giving loans to rural guys. So will Adhikari help? Adhikari service they can do a collection on behalf of them? Is it possible?
Right. So that is where, like I mentioned, we are currently only doing merchant loans as of now. But there is a potential, there is a possibility also, because in rural India, what happens, it is more of a trust-based solutions that are there. So in terms of like secured, unsecured loans, there are a lot of...
No. The question, no, Varun, sorry to interrupt. The question is not about Spicemoney is giving loans. The question is, assume that that is a different NBFC B, right? It's NBFC B has given a loan to one of the individual, and they want to do a collection, right? Can Adhikari help collecting the money on behalf of an NBFC?
So that is something that can be explored. That possibility can be explored.
Okay. Right now, it is not part of Spicemoney.
Say like currently we are only working on merchant loans. So on the customer side, we have not worked.
Okay, got it. And so is that any...
but that can be a possibility, like if they want to pay their loan amount, like I said, cash collection centers which are there. Probably in that way we can onboard them, and they can come to the Spicemoney counter, give their cash, whatever is due, and then that can be transferred to NBFC. So depending upon like what regulations allow in that space.
So Ram, I think you can send an email to us, or maybe I can just put in touch with Varun. We can take it up further. And the next question is, what is the current size of your Adhikari's network? And
so we are close to 1 million Adhikaris already. We are growing fast. So it is over period of 2 years, we have grown like almost tripled in terms of.
Okay. And is there any specific goals for them, or how do you manage? How do you track them and all?
So the performance and their potential, so everything, like I mentioned, that it is data led. We have a lot of tools, technologies in place where we are able to do, and there is a lot of deep engagement which happens between our sales team and the merchants at the ground level also. Even capturing, engaging with them, figuring out like what are there are a lot of innovative solutions that we are working on in order to enhance the engagement, in order to keep them engaged with us also, so that if there is any issue, we know that thing as quickly as possible, and we get to resolve it. If there are new products and services that are available, we can tell them how to use that. And we are also working in terms of UI UX also, so that how to make it more intuitive for the merchants.
Right. And I'm take this as a last question from the audience. So, I mean, rural adhikaris, right? Do they hold cash with them, or how do they manage surplus cash or deficit, right? So how do they manage the cashes? How's that?
Right. So in terms of, like I said, the counters who usually do this cash out services, they will also engage a lot in the cash in services. So one way is that if they can, if they are into cash out business, they can engage or do a lot of cash in services also, so that the money gets transferred within that. Otherwise, like they can like engage with the distributors also, or they can visit the bank also in order to withdraw. But that banks also they have the option to go and like upload their wallets also, where that is there, and do that transaction. So we have provided a lot of bank accounts also, where they can figure out the nearest bank branch in order to withdraw the cash which is there. So everybody doesn't have to go, only the merchant will are a lot of other means also which will help them, enable them in terms of that.
Perfect. I think, by the way, thank you so much, Varun, for being patiently answering to all my questions. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, sure. By the way, I think there are a few questions that has not been answered. Probably we can, please send us an email. I'll forward that to Varun. Probably we can get it through emails. Shweta, over to you, Shweta. Any final note that you would like to say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I basically, sorry, like we could not cover all the questions, but definitely, as Mani sir said, we'll get back to you. And first, basically, I would like to thank Varundeep Kaur ma'am for imparting us with immense knowledge. Second, I would like to extend my gratitude to all the participant attendants, like for taking part in this webinar. And lastly, I would like to thank the Habile team for making this session like possible. LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube link in the chat box. And I would request the participants also to follow us on these pages, our social media pages. And thank you once again. I hope you all have a great evening.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much, Varun. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks, guys.
And pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Bye.